I have heard about your faith. Ephesians 1:15. I don't know about you, but when I read these words, two questions come to my mind. Firstly, how did Paul hear about their faith? And secondly, what did Paul hear about their faith? How did Paul hear about their faith? We know from the book of Acts that Paul visited Ephesus more than once on his missionary journeys. In fact, he spent a couple of years there. Surely he would have got to know the people, and surely he would have kept in touch with them. But when the letter to the Ephesians was written, Paul was in prison in Rome. In chapter 4, he says that he is a prisoner in the Lord and an ambassador in chains. And without social media and the internet to rely on, anything he heard about their faith must have been through word of mouth, through people talking about their faith, people talking about the faith of others, people talking to one another about what they had seen in the way the Christians in Ephesus were living and behaving. And so the word would spread until, even in prison in Rome, Paul could say, I have heard about your faith. And what did he hear about their faith? He heard about the way they lived, about their love towards all the saints. For that, the writer gave thanks to God unceasingly. And he prayed that they might have a spirit of wisdom and revelation, that they might know the hope to which God had called them, that they might know the riches of God's glorious inheritance among the saints, that they might know the immeasurable greatness of God's power for those who believe, that they might know the working of God's great power. The writer makes a seamless connection between what might seem to be very ordinary things of God's kingdom, faith and love, and quite extraordinary things, hope, the riches of God's glorious inheritance, the immeasurable greatness of God's power. And it all starts with faith expressed in love. Where do you see faith expressed in love? Who are the people in whom you have seen faith expressed in their love? Most significantly of all, where do you allow your faith to be expressed in love? And in faith expressed in love, where have you seen the bigger picture of the quite extraordinary things that the writer asks God to provide to the Christian community in Ephesus? It may be difficult to think in terms like these about ourselves. It's so much easier to focus on the ordinary things. And we all have a long way to go in our journey of faith before we reach the headier heights that Paul speaks of. But let us never forget that it may just be the ordinary things, like the way we live and love, that people will say of us that they have heard about our faith.